Marvel Studios is at war with black people. Not with comic book characters, not with cartoons, with us. The real, living people who made them rich. And they are winning that war right now, quietly. One buried black hero at a time. They want you to believe they are the good guys, the progressive studio, the ones who gave us Black Panther and love us right back. That is a lie, and it makes my blood boil. Because the same studio that happily cashed our checks is erasing us off the screen in the dark and betting you are too busy cheering to count the graves. They handed a black man the shield of Captain America. Then they waited for the cameras to move on, and they snatched it right back. That is not a plot twist, family. That is a pattern. And I am about to walk you through every single body. So let us look at the graveyard. Blade, gone. Wonder Man, killed. Ironheart, buried after a single season. Armor Wars, vanished into thin air. And Anthony Mackie, the man they crowned as the new Captain America, shoved off to the side so they could walk Chris Evans, the original White Cap, right back through the front door. These are not accidents. These are decisions, made by specific people, in specific rooms, on purpose. And here's the one they are hoping you never connect to all the rest. One of these black-led shows got renewed, celebrated, greenlit for a whole second season just a few months ago, and then it got killed weeks later for a reason nobody at that studio will say out loud. That single cancellation gives the entire game away, and by the end of this video, you are going to see exactly how. Because this was never about ratings, family. This is Marvel's quiet war on black superheroes. Stay with me. Let us start with a fact they never once said too loudly. Black people built this studio's biggest cultural moment. When Black Panther hit theaters, it was not just a movie, it was a movement. Families dressed up. Kids saw a hero who looked like them, ruling a kingdom that was never colonized, never enslaved, never broken. We spent our money. We packed those seats. We turned that film into more than $1 billion and made Marvel look like the most forward-thinking studio in Hollywood. They took that money and that love, and they took the credibility that came with it. Remember that, because it is the whole point. They were happy to cash our checks, and it was not some accident they stumbled into. They studied it. They saw exactly how hard black audiences would ride for a hero who was ours. They saw the loyalty. They saw the pride. They saw the dollars stacked to the ceiling. A smart studio learns from a moment like that and builds on it. It doubles down. It makes 10 more. So watch closely now, because what this studio chose to do instead tells you everything about what they really think of us. Now watch what they did with the trust we handed them. In the comics and in the movies, the most sacred thing in the Captain America story is the shield. It is the mantle. It gets passed down. And Marvel made a choice that meant something. They gave that shield to Sam Wilson, a black man. Anthony Mackie picked it up, and for one moment, it felt like the biggest hero in the biggest franchise on Earth was going to be one of us. So what did they do with him? They gave him one television show, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it was actually good. Then they made him wait years. And when they finally handed him a solo movie, Captain America, Brave New World, they gave him a rushed, hollow film that critics tore apart. They set the table for him to fail. And then came the insult that tells you everything. For their next giant crossover event, Avengers, Doomsday, Marvel is bringing back Chris Evans, the original Captain America, the white one. And no matter how many times the movie insists he is playing someone else now, every casual fan on Earth is going to read it the same way. The real Captain America is home. And the black man they handed the shield to was just keeping the seat warm. Sit with that for a second. They passed the mantle to a black hero, starved him of anything great to do, let him stumble, and then walked the white original right back into the spotlight. That is not a story about superheroes. That is a story about us. And it is the same story over and over. And that pattern is exactly why I need you locked in with us. Real quick, family. This is the kind of breakdown that gets buried, and the only way the next one reaches you is if you tell the algorithm you want it. So if you are not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button right now and stay with me. It costs you nothing, and it keeps stories like this one alive. Now, Back to the graveyard, because Sam Wilson is not the only one they buried. Look at Blade. Marvel announced a Blade movie back in 2019 and handed the role to Mahershala Ali, an Oscar winner, a two-time Oscar winner, one of the most respected black actors alive. And Blade is a character that practically writes itself, a cool hero in dark shades cutting down monsters. You almost cannot mess it up. And yet, year after year, this studio that cranks out 20 projects at a time somehow could not figure out how to make a Blade movie. Now Ali has confirmed he is walking away. Gone. One of the greatest actors of his generation, handed a legendary black hero and left to rot in development limbo until he gave up. Then there is Ironheart, Riri Williams, a brilliant young black girl genius, the kind of character that could inspire a whole generation of little black girls in a way this industry almost never bothers to. She got one season, then silence. No real second chapter, just quietly set on a shelf and forgotten. And Don Cheadle, one of the most talented men to ever wear the War Machine armor, has been promised a solo project since 2011. First a movie, then a show called Armor Wars, then a movie again in 2022. And after all these years and all these announcements, still nothing. They dangled it in front of him for over a decade and never delivered. And now, here's the one I told you to wait for, the one that gives the whole game away. Wonder Man. Led by Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, another gifted black actor. This show was not struggling in the dark. Back in March, Marvel renewed it. Season 2, announced, celebrated, a done deal. And then, this week, with no warning, they killed it. Renewed one season and canceled the next, in the span of a few months, for a reason nobody will put on the record. Now think hard about that. Every time they cancel a black hero, they tell you the same thing. Low ratings, not enough views, superhero fatigue. But you cannot use the ratings excuse on a show you just renewed. They already decided it was worth a second season. Something changed their mind after the fact, and it was not the numbers. That is the crack in the whole story. That is the moment the polite excuses fall apart. You do not renew a show you believe nobody is watching. Renewing it means they looked at the numbers, looked at the plan, and said yes, out loud. This is worth more of our money. And then something they will not name made them reverse it. When a studio contradicts its own excuse in the space of a few months, the excuse was never the real reason. It never is. Now, somebody in the comments is already typing it. What about Black Panther? They are still making those. Black Panther 3 just got announced at San Diego Comic-Con. Does that not prove Marvel loves black heroes? No, family. It proves the opposite. Black Panther is the shield. It is the one showcase they keep polished and alive so that when anybody accuses them of what they are doing, they can point at it and say, look how progressive we are. One Afro-futuristic kingdom on the screen, kept shining, so you never count the pile of black heroes buried behind it. That is not proof they care. That is the alibi. It is the single black face they keep on the poster, so the erasure of every other one goes unnoticed. And do not think for a second this stops at black characters. They scrapped a Ghost Rider show built around a Hispanic version of the hero and replaced it with a movie reboot for a white lead. They announced a Shang-Chi sequel years ago, their biggest Asian hero, and then let it vanish. Ms. Marvel, their first Muslim hero, got one season and a quiet goodbye. It is the same machine every time. Bring in the hero of color when it is time to look inclusive. Take the credit, take the ticket sales, take the applause, and then quietly make sure that hero never grows powerful enough to actually matter. And I need you to feel what this actually costs, because it is not just a list of canceled shows. Every one of these heroes was a mirror. A little black boy watched Sam Wilson catch that shield and thought, that could be me one day. A little black girl watched Riri Williams build a suit of armor with her own two hands and thought, I am smart enough to do that too. That is what a hero is for. That is the entire reason any of this ever mattered. And every single time this studio quietly kills one of these characters, they are not just ending a show. They are reaching into that child's hands and taking the mirror back. Then they hand the spotlight back to the same faces that were always allowed to be the hero. That is the real cost. And they do it with a smile and a polite press release and they pray you are too distracted to feel the sting of it. So here is the truth this whole thing has been building to. This was never about box office. It was never about fatigue. It is the oldest move in the American playbook, dressed up in a cape. You take a people's money. You take their love. You put one of their faces on the poster when it is profitable to look righteous. And then you make absolutely sure that face never outlives its usefulness. Marvel courted us with Black Panther, cashed the checks Black audiences wrote, and then, one by one, in room after room, decided our heroes were expendable. Blade, Wonder Man, Ironheart, Armor Wars, and the black man they handed the shield of Captain America, benched so the white one could come home. They are betting you will not add it all up. They are betting you will look at one cancellation at a time and call it bad luck. Do not give them that. Line the graves up in a row, and the pattern is impossible to unsee. Hollywood's most beloved, most self-congratulating, most supposedly progressive studio has a body count, and almost everybody in it looks like us. Kevin Feige can announce all the Black Panther sequels he wants. After this, he is still never getting an invite to the cookout. This was Black Stories Untold, and if you made it all the way here with me, you already see the pattern they were counting on you to miss. So do one thing for me, family. Subscribe and stay close, because they are going to keep doing this, and somebody has to keep count. Then drop a comment and tell me which canceled Black hero they owe us an answer for. As always, thanks for watching.